Eternal in the Water is about love. It's about the things that men and women can give to each other under the best of circumstances. And it's about a sense of loss sometimes that every relationship has, perhaps in its DNA. I think it's also about trying to live a good life.
There we go.
Combining the things that the natural world gives us with the things that we can draw from each other. How are our pears, Mike?
They're lovely.
We actually grew these pears.
A nice little salad.
I was living in a small cabin when I met my wife Wendy, and we kind of decided that we wanted to move someplace new together and find a different way of living. And she actually spotted this barn, and I remember standing outside the windows of the barn, and both of us, like kids, with our hands up to the glass, we kind of reached for each other's hand, and we realized this is a pretty cool place. Leica is a sled dog, an Alaskan sled dog. She's a bit of a lazy sled dog. She's not as determined as she should be, but she's about as sweet a dog as you can find. Leica comes out with me every morning and sits while I write, and she's been just a terrific, terrific dog. Come on, let's go. I'm involved with the natural world. It's almost impossible not to have a connection with nature here. I don't know whether I gain solace from it. I'm not sure exactly why I feel like I need to go into the woods, into the wilderness, but I do. And I also think nature influences us in ways that we don't even know. The pull of water and the pull of the sea will shape us a little bit, even if we don't know it. I think that it does. And the writing, of course, reflects that. In this case, this story started about a man and a woman meeting by happenstance on a river. Rivers are magical things. I like going camping on rivers because you can start here and end up here in a single course of a day, and everything you see in between it is just absolutely beautiful. The river is essential to this whole story. Rivers embody passage of time and the change of season, but the bigger issue is about love, and it's about whether we can risk to love when we know that potentially we may lose that love. A famous quote about love and about tragedy is, everybody loves a love story as people are falling in love. But when they're in love, it's kind of difficult to portray because it ends up being one of these kind of crazy montages where people are just running around through the meadows holding hands and looking longingly into each other's eyes, which is fun and it's fine, but it isn't very dramatic. So almost every love story has to have both the beginning, the middle part, which is in some ways more difficult, and then the ending. The love that people have becomes even sharpened and heightened by the threat of potentially losing that love. When any relationship ends, I'm not sure that anything is ever really lost. They're just other experiences that you had. I mean, we don't lose summer. There's a certain melancholy when summer begins to fade and to die, and that leads us into fall. And so we accept fall, and then the leaves begin to turn, and then that moves us into winter. And one of the things I know is that in winter things are still alive. And then, of course, we come around to spring, and we all think, well, this is the return of life, but it's not at all the return of life. It's the continuance of life. Even in a love story, when these two are in love and they risk losing each other, I don't know that they can. I don't know if you can ever lose what's ultimately in your heart. To the wedding one, to the twoing two, to the side by side and the who loves who, to the family around you and all in the room, to love and memory, to the bride and groom. Remember us, remembering you, remember time, remember new. Remember now, remember then, remember how, remember when.